Hi everyone, Aiden here with etrailer. Today we're taking a look at the Swagman XTC2 TILT. It's going to be a platform style bike rack here on our 2020 Kia Sorento. Now the XTC is a, like I said, platform rack that holds the bike by the frame here. We hold it with a frame hook, and that's going to mean a couple things. Frame contact, we want to avoid our carbon frame bikes because that can damage the frame. And because it uses a frame hook coming down over top of the frame like this, a alternative frame bike is probably going to need a bike adapter bar, just because this can't really get a good grip on those alternative frames, and we want to make sure that the bike is secure. With this, it's going to be a more entry-level rack, but we do have some nice features like tilting away with the bikes loaded. We can come to this pin and clip at the bottom, pop that out, and then come to the top and just ease it down using that center mast. It positions the weight in a good way where it doesn't feel like it's too heavy. And from here, we're able to open up the back of our hatch and get to the back to grab anything out, or just have a place to sit and change our shoes before or after our ride. This is a feature that for a lot of other entry-level platform racks you might not see. So it's nice to have it here and know that you can get to the back without unloading the bikes first. I'll go ahead and pop the pin back in. And one other thing you want to take note of is it has a 35-pound capacity per bike. So it's a little bit on the low side. If you're looking for an affordable way to do e-bikes, check out the Ceres Freedom. With that, you are going to sacrifice that tilting feature, so that is a trade-off you're making, but that has a 60-pound capacity per bike, so it's a lot more than this, and it's able to handle those e-bikes. Now, getting the bike unloaded is pretty straightforward. We've got two wheel hoops at the bottom, each with their own strap. It's just a secondary point of contact that we'll remove. And then we can get the hooks off. There's a gray button that you can push and then just take the hook off of the mast. We'll do that for both. And those hooks are lockable if you add a cable lock separately. There's a hole right there where you can add that cable lock, and that will prevent the button from being pressed. And then from here, you can just lift the bike up and away. Now, because it's using the center mast there, it is going to present a bit of an obstacle. So loading and unloading the bike, you're going to have that in your way. Again, for an entry-level platform rack, that's a pretty common problem. Luckily, you can take the hooks completely off and kind of fit the front tire and the frame between this. I'll get these added back on, and we can get some measurements. Starting with our distance added to the back and our ground clearance. Now, ground clearance at the back end is gonna be 15, more like 16.5 inches. And that's pretty good, I'd say. It's not too much further out from this point here, which is gonna be 13 inches. Overall, I think you're gonna be fine with ground clearance. Just watch out for steep driveways and hills. And then our distance added to the back from the center of the bumper to the outermost point is going to be 20 inches. So it sits really condensed to the back of the vehicle here. Just know that with it unloaded like this, if we want to leave it in the hitch between rides, we can't fold it upright against the bumper to cut down on that space. So really the best thing you can do is fold this center mast down and out of the way, secure it with that pin down at the bottom, and this would be your driving position. It is going to make everything clear here for the hatch, your backup camera, and your license plate, but it's not going to cut down any of that distance added to the back. With this, there's one other feature I do want to point out, and that's going to be the garage storage position. So these two sides will fold up. We can pull these pins, fold them upright, and then reinsert the pins. And while this doesn't serve much purpose on the car, like I mentioned, in your garage, it's actually going to really reduce the footprint here. So it's a lot easier to store when it's not in the hitch. That may or may not be something you're that interested in, but it's something unique about this rack that I really like. Moving down to the hitch, it's working with our 2" by 2" receiver tube, but it will work with 1 1/4" if we remove that adapter sleeve, and it comes with an anti-rattle bolt to keep things solid in the hitch. You can upgrade to a locking anti-rattle bolt if you want, and you can always pair that up with those locks for the bikes as well. And overall, I think it's a pretty solid rack. It definitely has some nice features like the tilting and the garage storage position, but for me, it's not the nicest rack out there. It's a little clunky to use, especially with folding the sides up, and I prefer the Ceres Freedom just overall. I think it's a bit smoother, and for me, the tilt away function isn't a deal breaker, so I would go with that one just for the added weight capacity and ease of use, but for you, it might not matter. Either way you go, they're going to be a good fit on your Sorento. Thanks for watching.
Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action. This simulates turning corners or evasively maneuvering. Once we get to the full speed bumps, we'll see the up and down action. This will be just like driving in and out of a parking lot, parking garage, or driveway. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or pothole or driving over uneven pavement.